So I have three things, one statement, two questions, all related. I spent so much of my childhood, teenage years, young adult years, looking for and needing and wanting the perfect person and wanting love and support and upliftment. And it has been phenomenal through your work and discovering the whole time what I was looking for was just me.
Yeah, and once you find me, then you'll meet up with somebody else who has also found me, and you'll have a really good time together.
And that goes right into my next question. I have such a wonderful relationship with myself. It's just awesome every day, all day. So I have a wonderful relationship with a partner who has a wonderful relationship with himself all day, every day. And together, it's just awesome. So why, Abraham, do I allow myself to get more out of alignment, buttons pushed, and so mad at him more than anybody else in my life? What is that about?
It's madness.
Yeah.
What it is, we'll just say it in terms of the laws of the universe. It's past expectations that you haven't worked all the bugs out of. In other words, as you're visiting with us here, we can feel that you know what you said to us. In other words, you get it, that alignment with who you are is first and foremost, and you know the benefit of being tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and how good it feels to have your feelings be unhurtable and to have really good shock absorbers. In other words, to be in that place of expecting things unconditionally is a really nice state of being, but it's also something that you have to practice and tune to all the time. So sometimes things happen that are contrasting in nature. We said to some a few days ago that sometimes the very contrast that you're very sure you could live without is on your path to where you really want to be.
Yes.
And so sometimes you're clarifying things that you really care about in your relationship through that, and by that we mean you're working the bugs out of your vibrational resistance. And so this is why we were so emphatic in the last segment when we are saying to you, accept that you're on your path and you're wherever you are on your path and you're looking for the path of least resistance that you can find, but don't ask yourself to be all the way to where you think you should be or even to where you think you want to be. Accept that where you are is all right and just do the best from where you are. So that means that questions like that, questions like Esther could say, why did I not have the presence of mind to realize that I was booking an airline flight 12 hours off? And we want to say, what difference does it make when everything smooths out along the way anyway? Don't hold yourself to any standard at any point in time. Don't go back ever and second guess yourself or judge yourself. Instead, say to yourself, I've been following the path of least resistance all along the way, and by following the path of least resistance, what that really means is finding a vibrational stance within myself that allows me to be the clearer receptor of more guidance. And just have fun becoming more and more and more and more clear. How do you know what you want if you don't live some of what you don't want? And people who push your buttons the most are the people that you have the most desire around. In other words, if somebody you didn't know called you and said, hello, you don't know me, I'm just calling to tell you that I'm not ever going to call you again, you'd say, alrighty then. But if someone you really care about says that to you, you have a different feeling about it because there's more desire that is there. That's just part of that balance of knowing what you want and figuring out how to hold yourself in the vibrational frequency of what you want. There's another piece, and this is really worth thinking about. If you've been listening to us for a while, have you?
Yes.
You've heard us say this in a lot of different ways, but never as clearly as this. Receptive mode is everything. You've been hearing that all day today. The way that you establish and practice and maintain and own your receptive mode is by your broadcast mode. So when you're mad, think about what you're doing to your receptor. You're blocking yourself from the receiving of everything you want, and that's why you're mad. You're mad because of the blockage that you are doing in that moment, not because of the behavior that you are using as your excuse for being mad. So if somebody's yanking your chain like that a lot, what you want to say, or you're allowing your chain to be yanked is a better way of saying that, what you want to say to them is, oh, you are really helping me fine-tune here. You're really helping me tune myself into the receptive mode, because I can feel that right now, because of what I'm blaming you for, I am nowhere near what I really want. And so you're going to help me be a really good tuner. And that's really different than saying you're going to adjust your behavior and give me a smoother ride.
Yes.
Hey, what about that? Do you really want a smoother ride, or do you want someone who helps you be a really good tuner? Because if you're looking for a smooth ride, then you better narrow the scope of people that you're around, because there's not that many that interested in giving you a smooth ride. And so now you're just sort of practicing something that you can't sustain. Where if you're saying, ooh, I really like being with you because you cause me to have to really focus myself into alignment with who I really am. And oh, those are the best people for you to spend time with, because people who are compliant, people who just cave into anything you want, they don't give you an opportunity to practice your vibration. They don't call forth from you clarity and focus. And clarity and focus is the name of the game. Since you live in a universe that is attraction based, don't you want control of your vibration that's calling everything to you? And how are you going to get control of anything? So the people that you think you want to hang around with, those compliant, sweet people that just do whatever you want all the time, so you never have to do anything about focusing, because you don't have to focus. All you have to do is just observe the good stuff that's around you. They don't help you very much. Pretty soon your world gets really, really, really small, and before long they get really, really, really resentful that they have to be so really, really, really good to hold you in a place of feeling really, really, really good. Stop doing that to your kids. Let them be who they are while you figure out who you are. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So related to that, you talk so much about relationship, and of course the most important being with yourself. I find that outside of my children and my partner, I don't really have what I would call close physical relationships, not even
But the
with...
reason for that is most people don't, because you feel guarded. In other words, you've trained these people to behave, but it's just way too much trouble to train all those other people to behave.
Right.
So most people have sort of put themselves in a trap, because you can count on these people and these people and these people to give you a sort of smooth ride. Don't you think that's why it is?
But I feel like my partner and my children are exactly like what you said. They are following their guidance, they're doing their own thing, and I'm allowing that. It feels more to me like I feel comfortable. I feel more like myself when I'm not so intertwined with other people and what they're doing and what's going on with them.
It is easier. It is easier. But here's the thing. Step back from it a little bit and catch that glimpse that Esther keeps catching of a world where you and everyone else is unconditional in your alignment, not needing stuff from other people to be different than it is, just finding alignment so that you're mostly tuned in, tapped in, turned on. And then law of attraction just helping to weave you in and out of each other's lives for the enhancement of this moment and this moment and this moment. So it's like you could be saying, the entire world are my friends, and law of attraction is matching us up. Sometimes just walking through an airport, you can have a really meaningful experience with someone and you never even learn their name.
That's the part I'm talking about, where I feel very connected to people, but I don't feel so connected that I'm in their lives all the time and we're talking on the phone all the time. Or
let's say it like you mean it. I feel very connected to a lot of people, but I don't feel dependent on them like I used to.
Exactly.
And that feels like something's a little off, because I was counting my rightness or my goodness through my popularity, through the numbers. And we say most people are just defending their vulnerabilities through people.
so if I feel good when I am more to myself, and I still feel good if I go around people, I just don't need that. Is that an okay place to be?
It's not only an okay place to be, it's the healthiest place to be that we can even imagine that anyone would get. You're tuned in, you're tapped in, you're in the receptive mode. And when you really are in the receptive mode, that means people can dovetail with you in meaningful ways. Esther could assign someone the responsibility of following her around and making sure that she doesn't do dumb things.
Yeah.
In other words, will you check up on my airline flights? I'll send everything to you. I did this really unbelievably dumb thing this time, and so now I need someone to check. Or should Esther just assume that the universe has her back, and that as long as she's in the receptive mode, whatever she needs to know, whenever she needs to know it, she's going to know it. And what fun it is to see how clever the universe is in giving her what she wants as long as she's in the receptive mode. That's the way you really want it to be. And feel how free that is, how it leaves behind all that tension and trying so hard and needing to prove anything to anybody.
Right.
So the only question that we have for you about it is, are you having a satisfying life experience?
Absolutely.
Well, then there's your answer. In other words, I'm having a really good time dovetailing with a lot of others. Esther, for a little while, began saying she was not, when she made this statement, where you are as you are making this statement. In other words, but it was part of her evolution in understanding this. But she began making a statement a few months ago: I'm becoming a vibrational snob. And what she meant by that was, I really like clarity more than confusion. So I'm sort of limiting the people I hang out with because they almost always bring confusion.
Exactly.
But she was giving the power to them rather than to her tuning.
Yeah.
So once you realize that nobody just shows up without an engraved invitation.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
You're RSVPing all over the place with each other. So she's no longer saying I'm a vibrational snob. What she's saying instead is, I want to be in the receptive mode. I'm tending to my vibration, and I want to be aware. And then it's really fun to watch how clever the universe is in just dropping people into her life to give her a little piece of something that they have no clue why they're even giving that to her.
Right.
They don't know. They're just a messenger that's come to deliver a piece of something that's meaningful to her. And she just laughs about how pervasive it is, how steady it is, how perfect it is, how free it is, how satisfying it is, how worthy she feels, how tended to she feels, how perfect it is. You all will get along with each other so much better when you stop holding each other accountable for how you feel.
Right.
Yeah,
Perfect.
it is.
Thank you.
Really good.